Hello, my absolutely brilliant and beautiful astrology soulmates, and welcome to your new moon in Taurus video, where we are going to break down what is coming up for this new moon happening in Taurus, how you can expect to see some of the energies playing out. As always, we are going to dive into the aspects that are actually a part of the story that is unfolding at this particular lunation, and we're going to visit the lunation cycle so you can see where this story is going to start to unfold in your own life. Now, before we jump in and we get into breaking down our new moon, just remember you still have time to join me over at Astrology Hub. You get 50% off joining the inner circle, where you'll get to do not only the new moon in Taurus lunation with the soul work with me, but you'll get to do the full moon. I'll be there live Q&A with you, plus the masterclass. It's really, Astrology Hub is a great place, 50% off for the Stormie Gray Soulmate Tribe. So jump on over. And there is no way to talk about what is happening at this really powerful new moon coming up in Taurus without talking about the Venus Reset program. If you have not already jumped in to come back to Venus, meet your Venus, maybe even for the first time, or, maybe you've never really explored that, but you are feeling like something is blocked. You're feeling like, I am not doing a good job resting. I am not doing a good job receiving. I feel like I'm chasing. I want to be softer. I want to enjoy a bit more ease. The Venus Reset program is definitely for you. All of that is in the description box down below, so click down there and take advantage, okay? All right, so let's jump in and talk about what this lunation's got going on for us. And in order to do that, first things first, we need to back up just a little bit so that we can come forward, okay? So first things first, as we are coming into this lunation, which is actually going to be happening April 27th, okay? What is happening in the days before that will be a massive part of the story is that you can see here that we've got Mars and Pluto in opposition to each other. Mars now fresh back into this Leo energy, Pluto here in Aquarius, okay? So as Mars and Pluto have been opposing against each other, what's happened is there is this tension. And it's the tension between the personal will and what is a larger, more uncontrollable force. So as an opposition can feel, we feel pulled between wanting to assert ourselves in some way and feeling blocked, manipulated, challenged by something bigger. Whether that's other people, whether it's circumstances, or even our own unconscious fears that are standing in the way. So some of the ways that this energy has been lighting the opposition up in the days previous to this lunation is we can have power struggles that are surfacing. We have this ambition that we've had for a while. It's been buried and now it's coming up to the surface. Hidden fears, especially fears that are very Plutonian about losing control. I'm afraid to lose control. What if I sit down and do the Venus Reset program? What if I'm soft? I'll lose control because soft doesn't equal strong, right? Like these stories are coming up. Mars is in Leo. Impatience, frustration can be rising to the surface. And there can also be this energy in the tension that is like, I need to break through. I need to do it now. I need to do something. I need to break through these obstacles. And so here's the thing that I just want to shed a bit of light on here is that this tension is important here because it's not a roadblock. It's actually, I think, a catalyst. The friction that gets stirred under this Mars-Pluto is meant to ignite some kind of action, but the action we're going to see play out through the lens of this lunation because it has to be soul aligned, not ego driven. It also has to be a clear, simple path forward and ahead. It's a major aspect that is happening at this particular time. Now, one other aspect that I think is important for us to explore on its own before we get into the lunation is the fact that just days before, we saw that Saturn and North Node were actually in conjunction with each other, like a really tight conjunction with each other here in Pisces. So first of all, it's rare. It's deeply karmic. Anything coming to the North Node is particularly bringing Saturn there is a karmic moment because this North Node is our collective destiny. It's the path that we're meant to grow into. We're going forward. And Saturn is representing this commitment, the responsibility, the maturity, the structures that we build that will contain us long term. So when Saturn and the North Node come together, it's this universal call, I think, that says, are you ready to commit to a higher path? And the path does not come to us intellectually. It comes to us through the realm of the spirit. Are you willing to do the spiritual work to build something real, to build something long lasting? And in Pisces, the commitment, I'm telling you, it's not just physical, it's spiritual. So if you feel like you're trying to move towards something, you're trying to build towards something, and you're feeling the block, maybe even the tension here, one of the things that I have learned is that when we straighten out spiritually, we straighten out mentally, emotionally, and financially. So where are you at in the process of trusting the unseen, or trusting what is easy, what is natural? Because I don't think that Pisces energy is about building faith. We have faith in a lot of things, and we still aren't where we would like to be. I believe that faith here it's a combination in Pisces. It's got to be the faith that I believe that something can help me. I believe that this can work for me, but also trust. And trust is that I behave like I believe the faith that I'm talking about, right? When I say that I can create the life that I've always dreamed of, I have to meet it with devotion, not just desire. That's that Saturnian energy pulling the principle of some structure into the table for us to consider. So I really do think that this has a big piece to the story as well. Now let's break down the actual lunation part so we can see how it's all added in. As we can see here, that for this new moon, what we have is the sun and the moon are together. When the luminaries are together in the sky is dark. But when the luminaries come together, anything is possible. Absolutely anything is possible. So we plant our seeds of intention, though dark. We plant our seeds of intention to begin a new cycle. What would we like to begin to bring to reality for ourselves here? And in Taurus, you're asking to use everything that's happening at this lunation to build something tangible. It's earth. Taurus is in the earth energy. We're building it in the earth realm. So what are you building? What are you constructing? And again, this comes back to that Venusian energy. What do you even value? And then once you build it, can you receive it? Because it is really, really disappointing to build something, have no one come to it because you don't know how to receive it, right? Now, under the pressure of the Mars-Pluto opposition, and we see it having this conversation here with the new moon. Look at this. This is a direct, I feel like the universe is like, bink, 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 pay attention to what's going on over there. As we see that the moon becomes the apex of this T-square between Mars and Pluto, meaning all of that tension and all of that ambition, all of that fear, all of that urgency that was generated under the catalyst of Mars-Pluto, it's clashing and pouring out through the moon. Now, Taurus usually wants slowness, patience, simplicity. But under this particular sky, there's a fair amount of pressure. There's this fire or this sense to act, to shift, to clear out the old, to stand your ground with something new. And the wisdom of the moon, of letting the energy seep itself and try and push itself through this Taurus moon, is that I think that Taurus understands is that, yes, I can act and I need to build simply but clearly. I need to act, not react. I need to build carefully, not chaotically. It also becomes really very focused. Mars is back into a fire energy. So fine, let's build the fire into something that is going to last and fit not only into my personal life, but into the collective story as well. Now, the ruling planet of this lunation, Venus, we can see is set over here in the midst of a bit of a stellium with Saturn and that North Node that have recently come into conjunction. So Venus has completed this retrograde journey through both Aries and Pisces, where it's been dancing, showing us how we chase worth, we push for validation, we betray our own softness. And now at this lunation, Venus is saying, stop chasing what's already yours. Be soft, trust the process, stand in the sacred value. What do you value? Now let it come to you. Point your hips at it and let it come to you. And I'm telling you right now, Venus reset is a time to walk back into that. So if you're feeling like you're blocked and you need to kind of recall some of that magnetism and let it come to you, this is a beautiful energy to be able to do that. So go ahead, lean in and let it come to you, because Venus wants to be powerful, wants to be madly powerful at this particular lunation. So I say lean in, friend, and go on ahead and let it. Now, as we also look at this stellium that's been unfolding just in the Pisces energy, having Saturn, having the North Node, having Venus moving over here, it's its own whole story of how we are integrating what is going on around us, what we've been experiencing, how we're bringing those energies into a full culmination. It's a major, major feature, I think, at this particular new moon, because it's a reminder that in general, you don't have to go out and particularly like earn your worth. You already have it. You don't have to micromanage your destiny. You have to trust and surrender and receive. So that is really the story here, and that it will only grow. What you're going to build in this material realm is really only going to grow and be able to be sustained if it is built spiritually. It comes from a spiritual place. Now we can see as well from this Pisces stellium that there is this set of two loose, for me, squares to Jupiter, but Jupiter is also at this particular time in a really nice sextile to Chiron, who's here in Aries. And this particular sextile energy, I think, is a major healing energy. It's healing for your voice, healing for the identity, healing for some confidence, maybe even. So this is a nice avenue at this particular lunation, or a window, if you would, for speaking your truth, not even just to be seen, but to just say, here I am, who I am, full value without apology. But I think the thing to remember under this energy, as well as as much courage as it brings, is that first of all, softness comes with strength. And wisdom doesn't always come in words. Some things are spoken out for us in terms of our body language. How do we carry ourselves? When we're looking at Venusian energies, are we dressing how we would like to be addressed? How is the aesthetic also playing in for us? And the other thing about it is that some sense of speech and communication for us, while we're holding our value and creating and building something that can sustain us and that we can receive off of, is how we make people feel, not how we explain ourselves to them, not how we explain what we've built, but how does it feel when others are interacting with it. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic, I think, to see how Jupiter brings that particular story in. Now, we've also got some Neptunian action happening here that you can see. We've got Neptune fresh into this Aries energy in a fire trine with Mars, who's over here in Leo, just back from its retrograde vacation as well. So this is, again, a supporting aspect. It, too, is not an entirely common connection that we get, but what gives us a chance to take all of this tension, and it's trying to push out here in this Taurus energy, and transmute it into something creative, into something courageous, a little bit more soul-led action, because courage doesn't have to be reckless. And I think that that's a big story here in the Tauran energy. Taurus is really not reckless, so courage doesn't have to be reckless. And boldness can be beautiful. Boldness can be beautiful. So we do have some help at this particular new moon in order to plant our seeds of intentions, embody our values, and really plant a life and a course of our next direction that we really want. Under this moon, I would ask you to remember something. You are worthy. You are worthy already, right now, today. You're capable. You're ready. Now receive. Build with intention, build a structure, build something so tangible and ready to receive what's coming, and then trust that what is meant for you, when you come to your softness, when you come to being less stressed out, that everything is going to come to you because it's just finding its way home. You don't have to fight for it. Now let's talk about this lunation cycle, because you're starting something. You're at the beginning of something absolutely beautiful. And now, even if you've never tracked your lunation cycle, you can start to track this cycle with us right now. And then we can all check in and see what's come from where we've built. So we're at the new moon today, happening at 7 degrees of Taurus. So this is going to be the beginning of the cycle where we're planting those seeds of intention. We are at the beginning of something. So take note, put this in a journal. I mean, if you've never followed the 27-month lunation cycle that we follow around here and watched how your astrology is unfolding, write it down. Make a Google note for yourself. I'm sure they have an app for that, right? Actually, they have the digital transit calendar from our friends at Wise Guys Collective in the description box down below. Okay. Plant your seeds of intention here. What are you starting? And again, this is an earth energy. It's fixed earth. So likely you're starting something that can be touched, taste, felt. The value is radiating off of it. It's very Venusian, a relationship, a financial structure, something of value here in Taurus. Now, when we get to January 26th of 2026, we're going to be at the first quarter moon time at 6 degrees of Taurus. So at this time, this is going to bring a massive amount of change. People, places, and things that are not in alignment with this new moon, that what you're requesting in this Taurus area of your chart, are going to start to fall out like crazy. Let that go. That's the universe doing the heavy lifting. You've made a request here. And now the universe, based on what you asked, is going to take out the things that are not meant and cannot fit this Taurian vibration for you. And you are a builder. Okay, from January 26th going all the way until October 2026, you are a builder, future forward minded. What are you building? Write it, put it down on paper, keep a simple structure with what you're building. What is the plan? Build in a way that is not chaotic. Build with intention, okay? But you're going to be a builder at that time. And again, some chaos can kick up. When we get to October 26th of 2026, there's a lot of 26 going on around here. So my numerology friends, what's the 26 about? As we get to October, then we'll be at the full moon at 2 degrees of Taurus. So we're going to be looking at, first of all, celebrating whatever we built back here in April of 2025. We're going to take a minute to celebrate because you will have built something here. Something. So take a minute to celebrate. And then what's going to happen is we need to decide if we're going to pivot, which things are going to go and which things are going to stay with us, and we're going to commit to continuing to go down the road with it in this particular direction. And as we get to July 26th of 2027, we're going to have the last quarter moon happening at 3 degrees of Taurus. And this is where we're going to bring this whole cycle of work that we've been building to a close. You get the recognition that comes from having built something. You bring it just to its ending. You say, okay, that's the end of the cycle. And it doesn't mean that if you brought a relationship in here, it's going to be over then. Of course it can, but relationships end all the time without relationships ending, right? Like if you've ever been in a couplehood or a friendship or a parenting relationship, you know that as you're going through the relationship, it's one kind of relationship, and then the relationship has to die off and start to live as something else. We turn away from what it was and we get busy living in the new, the next iteration or vibration. So kind of keep this in mind, whether it's around your relationships, your value, your worth, your softness, coming back to creativity, your femininity, your money. What is it that in this time you're going to be able to look back and say, I actively participated in consciously building this and shedding and letting things go when it was time to in my life. This is a brilliant way to really see what you're doing. And it's even better, my beautiful friends, if you can get your own chart, go to where these degrees of Taurus are happening in your chart so you know exactly what house you are building and constructing in. And then you can look back and actually see what you did. It's the coolest thing. So, all right, beautiful friends, this is what's coming up for this new moon in Taurus. I would love to see you in the Venus Reset program. I would extra love to have you and your beautiful support over at Astrology Hub. But whatever's going on, I hope you have an absolutely beautiful new moon. Check out these videos at the end if you're not sure how to find this particular moon in your chart. And also make sure you have checked out your full forecast for April so that you're not leaving any of these beautiful energies on the table. All right, friends, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.